Yes, lads, welcome back to the stream. We are back, obviously. Spurs Live here. Josh, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
All good, all good. Long time I haven't been on a stream with you. I mean, Josh has been doing a phenomenal job. I mean, Josh, once again, thank you so much. Obviously, the co-owner, co-host of the channel. Josh, how have you been doing? How is it doing your live stream? How was it? Was it good fun?
It was, yeah. It's good to be back on the stream, especially with the start of a new season. It feels fresh. It feels fresh to be about.
Yeah.
Like me and my mates were saying that 1st of Jan might be the beginning of the year for everyone, but as a football fan, like this last week felt like the beginning of a new year. It's that feeling of a brand new year.
hundred
Hopes are
percent.
high, expectations are up there, and everyone's just ready to see what's about to come. But it was exciting. It was fun.
Yes, fantastic. Well, I got to say, I watched the live streams, I watched the videos on the back end. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to join, but I did watch it, and I'll tell you what, you and Matt absolutely smashed it. Now, very, very, very quickly, I know I personally have seen you with that top a couple times beforehand in a couple of videos of ours, but go on, give us a little something about that top you're wearing right now, that
Yeah, look a
beautiful
retro
Tottenham
one.
Hotspur top.
Look a retro one. I actually miss the yellow shirts. We don't do them anymore. We never do
Yes,
yellow shirts anymore. The last one we had was horrific as well. It was during Mourinho's year, but it was like
y-
yellow, orange, and it was like that 3-layer yellow one, where it was like
yes,
a
yes. I know what you're
third
talking
yellow, and it
about.
was
Yeah,
horrific. It was awful. But yeah, I think this is from. I want to say it's either the late 80s, early 90s, like Gaza
yeah.
era, that sort of time. So I loved it. I love it. I love our retro range.
Go on, give us a little shake. Give us a little shake. Come
So
on,
good.
come on,
Yeah,
give us
come
a
on.
little shake.
It's a beautiful one. The Holston, the best sponsor we've ever had, hands down.
100%.
Better than
Nah,
that
look,
red AIA that we have plastered every year.
the red AIA guys, we have to take that sponsor. What are we doing?
Horrific,
But
in it. It's so bad.
guys, obviously we have done the live stream obviously today, talking about our Premier League predictions. Today's gonna be tonight it's gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna get Josh very, very quickly to tell us his top four, like I did say to you, he will. His top four Premier League predictions. And I'm telling you now, right here, lads, before he does, just subscribe to the channel, guys. I mean, we've done an absolute, Josh and Matt have done an absolute incredible job in the past 3 weeks. So, guys, smash the subscribe button. Help us get to 1.2k. And we're edging closer to that 16,000 followers on Instagram. So, drop us a follow there. And yeah, so Josh, what is your personal opinions so far of the top four? What do you think the top four is going to be?
Like, it was an interesting first weekend because obviously you can't read too much into one game. Um,
Yeah.
but I think we learned a lot this weekend about the top four, maybe some of the relegation candidates, but obviously champions. I've got City, like most people. Although their squad is smaller, and the loss of Mahrez and Gundogan might be a bit bigger than I thought, and KDB is obviously injured now for
Yeah.
I think 4 months. They've just scored against Sevilla, but they are lacking that creative side. Whether Foden can step up to that, I don't know. Whether Grealish has got it in him to sort of have that ball funneled through on the left hand side a lot more, I don't know. But ultimately, I think they'll be fine. They're slow starters anyway, but I just trust City down the line to get it right. And it looks like they've got Jeremy Doku coming in, and maybe
Okay.
Luke
Yeah.
better. So I think they're reinforcements. They'll be fine. I still think they're easy favourites to win the league. Second, I hate to say it, it's the Gunners. It's Arsenal. Like, it might on paper be a 2-1 win for them last weekend, but they were class. I don't know if you caught the game. They
Yeah.
dominated. It was a 4-5-0 win, but just masters a 2-1. They look so comfortable. Saka looked class.
Just saying. I got him in my FPL.
Yeah,
I'm
I've got
just
him
saying
in.
that.
I really hated it, but he is absolutely class. That kid. Every time he touches the
Yeah.
ball, it's just electric. And they just look comfortable. Obviously, Timber out for the season now, basically with his ACL, so that's going to be a bit of a blow. And that defensive depth that they had, which is why everyone thought they might win the league this year, faltering. So I think that's why they'll fall short again, come down the stretch at the end of the season. But I think they are my comfortable second after this weekend's result.
Okay. Sorry, Josh. I'm just gonna also button and ask you a little bit of a side thing as well.
Mm.
Champions League football. When I was doing these predictions, I was saying Arsenal second, and I dropped them down to third because of the Champions League football. Does the Champions League football for you in terms of Arsenal? Do you think they're going to still overcome that challenge and somehow still?
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I like their depth more than other Champions League clubs, Newcastle specifically. I think if we're going to talk about Champions League hitting someone hard, it's them.
Yeah.
I feel like they could struggle a little bit with when it hits, but they were great this weekend, by the way, and I'll get onto them. But so third and fourth is what's up for grabs, and I think everyone's got sort of a mixture of United, Liverpool, and Chelsea. You might have the odd person throw Villa and or Newcastle in there. I've not seen a single one where we're in anyone's top four predictions, and understand.
Any Chelsea? Any Chelsea? Do Chelsea get a shout?
They do. I just want.
Sorry. Chelsea get a shout based on their performance game week 1.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was
yeah,
impressed with Chelsea. I thought they were the better side against Liverpool for large stretches of
yeah,
the game. I thought they were the better side. I thought they had the better chances, but ultimately, same problem as last year. Couldn't finish them. Weren't clinical enough.
yeah,
But I liked them a lot more. And Elise is a class signing. Like that. That's
100%.
such a great buy. And Caicedo is going to be such a great addition to Enzo because I think Enzo's class. But if they get him further up the pitch, he's going to cause problems.
Yeah.
So I think they're stronger candidates for me right now than Liverpool.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think for third place, I'm probably going to go United. They were poor against Wolves. I don't know if you watched it. It was poor. It was really
That was atrocious.
It was really poor. But they've got Højlund to come back. And I think ultimately, Mason Mount was anonymous, by the way. I forgot he was on the pitch for most of the game. I'm really not sure about that sign. But I think United across the season will be fine. As long as they can keep Casemiro on the pitch because they still have no backup DM. But if they get Amrabat in or another centre midfielder to sort of play that box-to-box role and Højlund hits the ground running, I think they're my favourites for third right now.
Yeah, fair enough. That's respectable, I think.
Yeah.
Very, very much respectable.
But a lot of people put them second. I think that's a bit too high for United, to be honest. I don't really see it. I can't see a position on the pitch where they're particularly stronger than Arsenal.
Pre game week 1, like I did earlier, obviously the prediction. I did it pre game week 1, so I put him inside my head. Obviously, I tried to
on
cancel everything.
paper they look great.
That's the thing. So I put them second.
Yeah.
Pre game week 1, and I had Arsenal third. But now, things are starting to change. But I wonder who your fourth one is. Who are you putting there?
I'm gonna go Chelsea.
This is the hard one.
It is. I'm gonna go Chelsea, and Liverpool have just apparently signed Endo from Stuttgart, who I don't know if you know a lot about Endo, but he's okay. 30 years old. He's decent, but he's a stopgap, which worries me. The fact that they lost out on Caicedo and Lavia. And they're inquiring about Amrabat, but they have no 6, and it showed. They really struggled to win the midfield battle against Chelsea, and that was before Caicedo and Lavia joined the club. So I think that lack of 6, selling Fabinho before they got in a replacement, I think is a massive mistake. They got good money, but I think it's a massive mistake because McAllister had to play deeper than he likes. They lost his creativity in that game. Szoboszlai is obviously new to the league, so he's going to have some time to adapt. I just think their midfield, like Expression said it best, they're like a polo at the minute. They've got nothing in the middle.
It's true.
It's true. And I still, even with Endo, I don't think they've got the depth they need across the season. And I just think I do worry about Liverpool. I think they're fifth. For me, they're strong contenders for fifth, but they're up there with Newcastle for fifth. But that's top 4. My top 4: City, Arsenal, United, Chelsea, as things stand at the minute.
I think that's as much as we can say there's various teams that can fit in that top 4. I think you have to have the City in there. You will have to have the Arsenal on there, and you
Yeah.
have to have the United in there. The fourth one is what people question.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, now let's go. Should we go to relegation or should we go to where you put Tottenham?
We'll go relegation, then we'll get on to
Okay,
Spurs, and then we'll segue. So,
go for it.
relegation, obviously, dead bottom. I think everyone's got them dead bottom. Sheffield United,
Yeah,
losing in Dye and is massive. You know, he's their main creative output. He's one of their top goal scorers last
one top
season.
goal scorers. Yeah,
Yeah, top for key passes, progressive dribbles, progressive passes, and that's a massive loss to them. I know they got a good price, but that's a massive, massive loss. And I think they've just brought Tom Davies in, so it's like, oh,
I don't know.
I'm not. I really am not impressed with the Sheffield United's business at the minute. Next to them, I've got Luton.
Same. Yeah,
I think everyone really wants Luton to do well, and I like Luton's business, but I think they're building a really strong championship team for next season.
yeah.
You know, some of their signs, I think they're building a really, really strong, like with Giles coming at left back, that sort of caliber of player. I think they're building a team to go back up next year, and I think they'll be strong contenders in the championship next year. But I just don't think they'll have it. They have the minerals this league. Be hard to beat at home, I think, at times. But away, I think they're going to get absolutely pumped.
He'll. I think you mentioned this. They will be basically the Burnley. They will be.
Yeah,
Their
so they
ground will
don't have
be
a choice.
no, no.
They
Sorry,
don't have a
not in
choice.
terms of yo-yo. Not in terms of the yo. I meant they'll be the Burnley ground. You know how it was so hard to
Yeah, yeah. People
go
aren't
to
going to want
Burnley.
Luton at home are going to be a decent, like not a decent side in terms of footballing aspect, but a decent side in terms of it's not going to be everyone's favorite place to go this year. I don't
Yeah.
think. I think some teams are going to have a really tough time picking up points there. I know they got packed by Brighton, but that performance was sort of the scoreline was flattered a little bit by some individual errors. I know Mpanzu, you know, that he tried to sort of flick the ball away outside in his own box and sort of just lost it out. But Brighton away is not an easy start to the season. You know, De Zerbi's boys started where they left off and they absolutely peppered them with shots. So, you know,
Yeah.
it wasn't easy for Luton. But as much as I want them to do well, I just don't think they've got the depth, the quality. And I think I like their coach, Rob Edwards, but I just don't think they've got it in them this year to stay up. And 18th,
Fourth.
I
This,
had
this,
Wolves.
this is it's similar to fourth. 18th and fourth are similar because you've got so
Yeah,
many teams that can go there.
I had Wolves in 18th. Obviously, losing Lopetegui, losing Neves, Jimenez
Yeah.
left. I mean, Jimenez isn't that big a loss
Jimenez.
anymore because he didn't score any last season. I mean, he might have scored one, but he's been
Yeah.
pretty poor. And they obviously lost Nathan Collins as well, which is a big loss. I really like Nathan Collins to Brentford. Kilman signed a new deal, but that's not exactly. I like Kilman a lot, but you know that's not going to save them. Their business hasn't been particularly impressive either. Lopetegui leaving is a massive, massive loss to them, especially just before the season started.
I still think I don't know if this is a confirmed though, but the manager that was managing them against United is that
It's Gary
a
O'Neill.
new manager?
Yeah. That's Gary O'Neill, Bournemouth's manager
Right,
last year, and
right. So he was decent. I think he
yeah, he
managed to
kept
do
Bournemouth up,
well.
but Bournemouth's underlying numbers were a bit flattering last year, which I think is why Bournemouth actually moved on managers. But they sort of solved the problem before it really showed itself, you know, at Bournemouth.
Yeah,
And on Bournemouth, just quickly, I'm so impressed with how Bournemouth have acted. I think they've had one of the best windows out of anyone in the league so far. They've spent big, but they've spent well. I really
yeah.
like their squad. I really like their manager. I know they drew 1-1 to West Ham, but I think that was a sign of things to come. I think Bournemouth will be really good this year. In terms, I think they'll be middle of the pack. I really like them at the minute.
Well, like a Crystal
Um,
Palace team,
what's that? Sorry.
like in the range of Crystal
Yeah,
Palace,
yeah,
like
yeah. I
12,
think
13,
they'll
14.
be in that sort of 14th to 11th space comfortably this year.
Yeah,
I think, but if it's for me, it's a toss up for 18th between Wolves and Fulham, especially if Mitrovic goes. I'm really worried for Fulham. I think the
yeah,
difference if Fulham survive will be Marco Silva, because that's the only reason they won against him and Leno. Leno kept out 3.3 xg on the weekend. Realistically, Everton should have taken the points. I think Fulham were lucky to do so, but that's partly because of Marco Silva's tactical nous and how he played and how he set them up against Everton. But I think without Mitrovic, without Paulinho for a large part at the beginning of the season, I think they could really struggle for goals.
Mitrovic is a huge loss. A
Yeah,
huge
yeah.
loss.
Even despite the money, I think it's late as well. So I think they'll struggle to get a decent replacement in. Definitely not one that's Premier League proven. I wouldn't have thought at this stage of the window.
I
I
thought I
really
thought
worry.
Fulham should have gone for Danjuma, in my opinion. I think they should have
It's a
fought for
decent
him.
signing for Everton.
Yeah,
Um,
very, very good signing. So wait, so sorry, you're saying Sheffield United, Sheffield United,
Luton.
Luton, and who is your 18th? Oof.
I'm going to stick with Wolves. I think Wolves played well against United, but I think they could flatter to deceive because I think ultimately the problem that they'll have this season, which is the problem they had against United, they've got no one to score goals.
Yeah.
Mateus Cunha, as impressive as he was against United with his, his dribbles and his directness, couldn't put the ball in the back of the net when it mattered. He had that chance at the back post about 5 yards out, hits the post. You can't miss those away to United or in any
No,
fixture in
yeah,
the Premier League.
100%.
You can't afford to miss those. I think the sort of disorientated nature around the club, the lack of investment. I know they have FFP restrictions, so it's not necessarily their fault. But that for those reasons, and Gary O'Neill not being quite the manager, I think people believe he is. I think they'll have a good go of it, but I do think inevitably there's just better teams than them this year. So those are my
Look,
three.
I think what's important to say is that the teams that you've got down there
Mm.
aren't necessarily bad. They are really not bad.
No, no,
I
no. There's
mean,
not. It's a
we're,
strong
we're
league.
talking, yeah, we're talking about Luton Town, who, yeah, they're low quality, but they're building a team. They're building a serious team. You got Sheffield United up there, who are probably are the least
Yeah,
quality team out of them three. But then you got Wolves. I mean, we're talking about Wolves here. They finished 8th, 9th a couple seasons ago.
yeah,
But I think there's one team. I'm sorry, but there's okay. Before we get onto Tottenham, there's one team which I think is really important to talk about, and it's Burnley. It's Burnley. I think we have to talk about them because look, sorry guys, this is not really what the stream is supposed to be
yeah,
for,
yeah.
but I think sorry, very, very quickly, this Burnley team, Vincent Company, is he staying up?
Yeah, yeah. I
Is he
think they'll be
staying up?
fine. Listen, City is the opener of the season. Whoever organised the fixture list this season and thought that Burnley City was a good idea for the first game of the season is a joke.
Absolutely
They
terrible.
should never be playing City first game of this season. They were always, but I actually thought, despite them getting pumped 3-0, they had some good passages of play. And ultimately, they won't get punished quite as badly as you would think after that game. I think they'll be fine. Do I think
Yeah.
they'll be like incredible? No, but I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be pretty comfortable.
Well,
I like
I
their
mehad
signings.
yeah.
They've
No,
had good
I'm saying
investment.
James Trafford. James Trafford. You're talking about the signings now. James Trafford.
Yeah, I like Trafford. I'm a bit surprised they haven't brought back Nathan Teller to the club. I don't know if they tried to bring him back from Southampton after
Hmm.
his loan last year. We'll see what happens with that. But I like Burnley. I think I like Company as well. I want them to stay up. I really like Vincent Company and his side. I like the way he tries to play. I like his philosophy. I like how he talks as a man in his press conferences.
Yeah.
Um, I think they'll be fine. I
I
think
think
it's a
I
harsh
do.
start for them. I think they'll be fine.
I agree with you 100%. Now, a nice way to slowly move into Tottenham. It's so Tottenham, by the way, to just now go lose to Burnley and beat City. But Josh, to slightly move over to where do you think Tottenham will finish this season? Before you say, I will just say to everyone again what I said. I said Tottenham Hotspur will finish seventh. Where do you see Tottenham finishing?
Yeah, seventh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
give us a little bit why.
yeah. I think people are actually really underrating us this year. I know we've lost Kane, and can I just talk Paul Merson? Oh
What are
my
you
god,
talking
how
about?
he's employed by Sky Sport, bottom half. Yeah, he thinks we're going to finish
Bottom
bottom
up.
half. That's what he's thinking. He thought we struggled to stay in the top half of the league this season. It's outrageous. I'm sorry. I know we lost Kane. I get it. But everyone seems to think, because they lost Kane, that's 30 goals. They can never get those goals back.
But
No one
it's
else
not.
can
It's
score any
credit.
goals. They just lose 30 goals. That's all that happens. Like, no, Paul. That's not how it works. Yeah.
It's not Paul Merson anymore. It's Paul. Oi, Paul.
Yeah, Paul, that's not how it works. Seriously. I mean, I know he's got an insight as a footballer because he played the game, but seriously, despite the fact that you've played the game, I'm seriously doubt some of your research and your knowledge on the game sometimes because that is an outrageous take. I'm sorry. Um, I was impressed against Brentford, and I think it says more that it wasn't Spurs fans that were impressed against Brentford. If you look at wider football media, everyone was impressed with Spurs against Brentford. Absolutely
100%.
everyone. We played a great game, and I think hopefully there's more signings to come. You know, I think the talk of the town is Gift Orban at the minute. Obviously,
Yeah.
we haven't moved any further with that at the minute, but Postecoglou wants another centre back as well. I liked all of our signings. I thought Udogie was fantastic. I thought Van de Ven was great. We're going to get onto that later.
100%.
Basuma, he's Basuma.
Wow.
What an
He's a new
unbelievable
player.
performance. Honestly, I saw a tweet the other day saying that we should rehire Conte and sack him all over again just because if he can't get something out of a player like Basuma, he deserves to be embarrassed. And he does. It's actually outrageous what he did to Basuma last season because that was an unbelievable performance from Basuma. But James Maddison, I'm convinced he's getting 10-10, 10 goals, 10 assists like this season. I think he's got the capabilities to do it. He's already on 2 assists.
Yeah.
I think, will we finish top 4? No, I don't think we've got the strength. It's a complete rebuild. We've got a new manager, new philosophy to implement. Ange always says he starts slow every time he's taken over at a club. So I expect us to start slow. But we played really well away from home against a tough team whose strengths, their wide players, because of the absence of Tony, is a direct counter to our weaknesses of our system, which is the fact that the fullback's going to be inverted, there's space out wide. So it was a tough first fixture, actually, when you look at it from a tactical perspective, not just from the fact that Brentford are a solid side and we're away from home. But I like all of our signings. I think that the style of play, we're going to score a lot of goals this season. You know, we might concede a few because of the philosophy and the way that we'll play, but that's okay. I think we've got a much better defensive unit this season than we did last season. I'm much more confident in it. I think they'll grow together throughout the season and become much more of a sort of a team rather than a bunch of individuals. And I think people are underestimating the strength of Tottenham at the minute. I like Newcastle. I do think Newcastle will get, that 6th spot above us. They're so strong.
Yeah.
Sandro Tonali looked fantastic. I was really sort of snidey about the signing of Tonali. I do still think they overpaid for him, but it's a decent signing. Barnes.
How much was it? How much was it?
I think he was like 60, 70 in the
Yeah,
end.
60. Yeah,
which I think that's a bit of an overpay, but to this day. But still, I really like Newcastle. Villa. The scoreline again flattered Newcastle a little bit. Villa had to implement some new players that they weren't ready to, like Pau Torres, who was trying to play these weird offside traps in the Newcastle game that just weren't working.
Nah.
And he's not the fastest player in the world anyway. And Villa are playing such a high line trying to get back into the game. They were always going to get caught.
Exactly.
But I do still think Villa will be a good side. But again, Conference League is not fun. We've been in it. It's not fun. You sort of when it gets to the sort of mid-season time, that's when Europe gets you. It's fine at the beginning of the season when everyone's fresh. But if you go further in the competition and you're playing a decent side in the knockouts, and then you're going to play a Premier League game on the Sunday, you're going Thursday, Sunday for weeks on end, and you have to play strong teams in both games. That's when injuries pick up. That's when fatigue sets in, and that's where you drop your points in the Premier League. So I think it will hit Villa a little bit harder because I don't think their strength in depth is quite as good as Newcastle's at the minute with some of their newer signings. I do think it will hit Newcastle as well. But I'm not sure if it depending on who their draw is. I think it's less likely that Newcastle go further in Europe than Villa go further in Europe.
Brilliant. I think Josh has done an excellent job. I mean, look, his top 4, his relegation teams, his position where he places Tottenham, and a few insights regarding Burnley, Villa, Newcastle. Now, let's talk business now, Josh. Let's talk business. Obviously, we got a couple players who need to leave. Let's say like this, to leave. It's about time. They have to leave. I've got 3 players in mind right now. Obviously, they're in the title. let's start off with let's start off with a bit of Lloris news. Now,
Hmm.
Lloris to Lazio. Tottenham Hotspur want a fee for him. Tottenham Hotspur want a fee for Hugo Lloris, although he has 1 year left on his contract with Tottenham. Lazio want him free, and I think, in my opinion, I think Lloris needs to leave right now for free.
Yeah.
He does not need to leave for a fee. He needs to leave for free. I think Daniel Levy's trying to hold up for around 8 mil, something like that, 8-7 mil, and
Oh.
it's just pathetic. And then so we'll start off with Lloris, and yeah, what do you think of Lloris to Lazio? Do you think it's going to be a transfer we will see happen this transfer window, or
No,
will
it has
Levy
to.
be?
It has to
Yeah,
happen. Well, what's Levi? Levi has not got the cards here. Lazio hold all the cards, and Lloris hold all the cards. What's he going to do? Sit Lloris on the reserves all season and pay his wages? That's going to cost
yeah,
you more money than just letting him go for free. Why are you trying to get this minimal fee out of Lazio? Just let him go. He's been the captain for nearly a decade at the club. One of our longest serving players. He's given everything. Just let the man leave. What?
yeah.
Don't embarrass him by making him sit on the sidelines for the season or in the reserves for the season, rotting. And everyone forgets about him. Let the man go. It's the least he deserves. If you didn't give him a send off, the least you can do is just let the man go to the club he chooses in peace. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. But from a sentimental perspective, it makes no sense to drag this out. He shouldn't be here now. We should not have players that aren't going to be here this season running around training with the current squad. That's not good for the
Exactly.
dynamics of the team.
AKA Tanguy and Dombele.
Yeah, bless him. Honestly, that kills me every time. But before we move, but Lloris, just let him go. Don't hold out for this massive fee. Not even a massive. Just don't hold out for a fee. Just let him go. Get his wages off the books. Okay, he's already lost the captaincy. Confirmed. Sonny's the new captain. Obviously, Madders and Kuti are the
Madison
vice.
Kuti.
Yeah. So he's definitely leaving. You can't now just keep him at the club because you've taken the captaincy away. You've obviously and they gave him the number 1 shirt again as well. By the way, why give him
How
the number 1 shirt?
stupid.
So Vicario now, I don't know if they can change it mid-season. I'm pretty sure they can't. So Vicario can't wear 1 for the rest of the season now. Which is, if I was him, I'd not be happy. I'd be fuming about that as well.
Yeah.
But I don't really get it. Just let the man leave, Levi. Honestly, he's been a great servant. Let him go to Italy just to sort of see out the last of his playing career in peace. You don't need
Yeah.
a fee. Get him off the books. Get him out of the. I presume that he isn't even coming to training at the minute, or sort of around the squad
No,
because I
so
don't.
no, so Lloris, so Lloris was at training. He
He was.
reported to training. He's at training. He's around the squad and everything. It's just
It just
it's
makes
it's just
no
a shame.
sense.
But it's a shame to um to lead someone on in terms of, okay, yes, come to training, come to training. But you're not gonna be playing for me. You're not playing for me.
He
I
didn't go
mean,
on the tour. He didn't go on the tour. Why? He didn't go on the tour to secure a move, and yet we come back and nothing's happened. How can that be possible?
it doesn't make sense. And at the end of the day, these are the things that we question the board at. We
Mm.
question the board so much about the transfers. Less about the business, because we all appreciate them about what they do for business wide. In my opinion, at least, I think we are the best well run business in terms of football, in my opinion. I don't think, and there's another club who is well run in terms of business.
Well,
You
mate,
can
our
say,
profit margins must be a joke.
mate, and then when we talk about transfers, we are the worst. I mean, not we, Daniel Levy. Look, in terms of the Lloris to Lazio, I think he has to leave. Josh agrees with me here. He has to leave, and Levy has to let him leave. I mean, it is what it is. Now, let's talk one quickly about Tanguy and Dombele. He didn't get no chance today. By the way, sorry guys, I'm obviously going over about a couple of news that's happened in the past 2 weeks
Mm.
or 1 week, and a bit of news now. Tanguy and Dombele, obviously, he's now Ange is a bit unimpressed with his timings, I heard, and
Yeah.
um and wants him out. Oh my days! It didn't even last six. How long since that guy Dominic was back
It
and he's
really
already out?
does. it just boils my blood at times because I think as a fan base, we've been so patient with this guy. We've been so patient with him. Every time he comes back, we've said it on this channel. We
Yeah,
want him to be so good, so badly. And there's only one reason for that. Because he has the talent. He's one of the most talented players I've ever seen at Tottenham. But he's
yeah,
also got one of the worst attitudes I've ever seen in a player to wear a Tottenham
yeah.
shirt, especially in the recent era. We used to have it in back in the day a little bit with, your Adol Taraps, your Benoit Suakotos and whatnot, whose attitudes used to stink a little bit. But
But this is worse. This
I'm
is worse.
sorry. You've been given not your first chance, not your second chance, not even really your third chance. You're on your fourth or fifth chance in as many years now. Like, you had your opportunity. I know you got the knock just before the first game of preseason, and that can't be easy. It's a bit of adversity. Get on with it. Grow up. Get back on it.
Yeah.
There's no excuse to have timekeeping errors or lack of commitment, especially when you got a manager that's willing to give everyone a chance. And like Ange, everyone at the club seems to be loving Ange. So it's not it's
You.
not the managers anymore. I could have accepted it with Conte because he didn't get on with Basuma and other players, and they were ready to revolt against him if reports to be
Yeah.
believed. I get Mourinho; he's like Marmite with players. Players love him or they
Either you
hate him.
like, yeah.
But I'm sorry, it's it's his fifth manager at Spurs now, and
Add
not a
Nuno.
single one
Add
has gone for him.
Nuno.
Yeah, including Nuno. It's Nuno and Poch. It's his fifth one now, and not a single manager has got on with him. The manager at Napoli was benching him most of the time. I know he's a league winner. He was benched most of the time. He went back to his old club, Lyon. Couldn't get in minutes there. His old manager wasn't having it. I'm sorry now. You've wasted your time. You've wasted our
Yeah.
time. You've wasted your career because he's not a young guy anymore necessarily. This was it.
Yeah.
This was his last shot, and he's wasted it. And it's just sad to see. It's honestly so sad to see a player with that much talent just throw it all away because of his attitude.
I mean, look, there's not too much to disagree with here. Mile High Hotspur, I'll get you and we'll 100% make sure that happens. Big up, my friend. Thanks so much for joining. Look, I think when you talk about, obviously, by the way, he's 26 years old and Ndombele. When you talk about a player who's got so much talent and is wasted it, I know it's not a nice way to bring him into the conversation, but we need to talk to him, talk about him. I'm not sure if we already talked about him, but the Dele Alli.
Yeah.
Dele Alli. Sorry, I can't remember if we already talked about him, but quickly, Dele Alli, obviously, he's been through a lot.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the hell happened. I had no idea. I think many of us not know that.
A lot of people didn't. Yeah.
Quick one. Would you give him a second chance at Tottenham?
What, Delhi?
Yeah.
No.
No,
Not
okay,
because of who he is or anything like that. I just think we've moved past it. But
No,
I really hope that he does get a chance somewhere one last time, to really show who he is. Because we know who he is.
We know,
But we've just moved on as a club. And I think, it wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be fair on us to have to take that burden, but it also wouldn't be fair on him to have to come into this team and impress. Where there isn't really a place anymore. There's always a place for him at Spurs. But there's
understands and all that.
Yeah, but just he's always going to be one of us. But I think we've moved on, and I really hope he gets a chance to show who he is. Because I love Dele. I've got great memories of Dele. I remember us signing him, and everyone was taking the mick out of us. It was in January for 5 million from MK Dons, and everyone was laughing at us. And then he came on the scene and was one of the best.
Crystal Palace goal.
Just one of the best players I've ever seen. He got to, I think it was, I don't know if he got to 100, but he definitely got to, I think it was 100 goal contributions faster than Lampard's goals, Gerrard, a lot of them, and it's such a shame. But I hope that, he's battling and he's winning against, all the demons that he's had. And that he can be not just the footballer we wanted, but the person that we know he can be, and that he's happy with himself.
100%. Well said. I mean, look, now let's talk about the MADDER'S. Let's talk about MADDER'S.
Yeah.
I mean, he is unbelievable. I could talk about him for days. Now, you quickly a little bit touched on him before, and you said you expect him to get 10-10, obviously 10 assists, 10 goals. I 100% agree with you. Quick note here, I have him in my fantasy. I transferred him in this transfer. By the way, how much did you get this year? This week in
I
the
think I'm on like
fantasy?
8. I think I got like 84.
Oh,
Yeah, come on.
smashing it.
Yeah, that's me.
I did really bad. I got like 68. But nah, transfer Madders in. I was like, get in here, son, get in here. But Madders, look, he's taken up this new role essentially.
Mm,
It's the everything comes through me role. It's the I'm part of the leadership in the
yeah,
Tottenham Hotspur. He's only here for about what 17 days, and he's already highly respected by all his
yeah,
teammates.
yeah.
Now, I want to hear what do you think needs to happen in order for it's on Matters obviously, but for Richie to get on the end of these balls, because what Matters is doing is fantastic.
Yeah.
He's doing well, but I still feel like he can do more. Matters. What's your impressions on Matters based on game week 1?
Oh, he couldn't have had a much better game than he did. He was
Yeah,
the balls on him to take that number 10 shirt as soon as Kane left, wore it,
crazy.
and showed why he deserved it. You know,
Yeah,
his 2 assists, that set piece. Oh,
unbelievable.
oh
I,
my
I want to get on
god!
the head. I want to head of that ball. I want to.
You could put anyone on the head of that. You could have put a mannequin there, and if it touched him, it would have gone in. It was an unbelievable ball. But you know, everyone said it. It's not just Matters passing. Usually, players that are that technically gifted with their sort of passing range and their ability to create sort of chances aren't as gifted with their feet in terms of close control, dribbling, ability to move with the ball. You know, they're better
Yeah,
at providing, but they can't really do much with it. No. Madders' close
Matters
control
is
is
different.
second to none in the team. He's one of the better guys than in the league with his feet. You know, he can
Yeah,
get out of the tightest spaces, most difficult situations. He can do it all by himself. Um, and I think he's going to be the figurehead for this team, clearly. Um, and he's shown why he deserves it. He deserves that 10 shirt. And I'm so happy. He's perfect for this Ange system. He led the press so well against
yeah.
Brentford. You know, that was people have it's been slating Madders a little bit because they said he didn't work too hard at Leicester. Well, guess what? He's vice captain now. He's part of that new leadership group. Ange trusts him, and he repaid Ange's trust and faith because he was
And he's
fantastic.
saying also all the right words. I mean, I wasn't. Let's just say I was 80. I was, let's say, 45% convinced we can win a trophy this year. But
Mm,
because of what Madders said, I mean, think about it. If you're a player at Leicester City, obviously you haven't won something in ages since that title, but you haven't won anything. And obviously you know he knows that he's one of the best English midfielders. He knows that. He now needs to make that move. He can go to City. He can go to Chelsea. He can go to Liverpool. He can go there.
well, he's good enough to play for them all.
He's good enough. He's good enough. But he chose Tottenham. And he said that he chose Tottenham and he wouldn't come to Tottenham unless he thought we could win something. Now, I don't know if it's just, obviously media script that you have that you should say whatever, but I honestly think he genuinely believes that. I mean,
Yeah,
when you look at it and you look at where's the 30 goals going to come from? Well, look at this. You're going to get 10 from Madders, 100% get 10
yeah.
from Madders. You're probably going to get another 5 tap-ins from Richie, 5 tap-ins from Emerson Royale. You're going to get 10 from. I mean, look, regarding Madders, I think he's an exceptional player, and there's only more to say. But again, regarding the role and the positionship, are you happy that he's taking this leadership role?
Yeah, massively. I
Yeah,
think he thrives off of it. He loves it. He's such a big personality. I think he'll take it in his stride completely. I think he's become a fan favorite already very quickly. And I think
very
he
much.
showed why everyone should put their trust in him. I think he's going to be probably the best buy of the entire window, not just for Spurs. I think for any club. I think he will
Yeah.
be looked at as probably the biggest bargain of the entire window. To get a player of that quality for 40 million is
30 mil
outrageous.
essentially, yeah?
Yeah, if you want to look at it as 30 plus wings, sure. But that's we're looking at players like Caicedo going for 115, Lavia for 50 plus, nearly 58.
Yeah.
Maddison is unbelievable. He's just in that rung below world class. I'd say that he's a top midfielder that easily could
Yeah.
have been going to the same price tags as those players, and we've snatched him away. Um, it's smart business. It's a great signing. I think he's the best caliber of player we could probably have bought, considering the circumstances.
Yeah.
And just, I don't really care whether he only came because we're a London club and Newcastle was clearly the better proposition in terms of
On
footballing
Newcastle, yeah.
right now. But I think he knows he's a perfect fit into this system for Ange. He's going to be the key player. The game's going to revolve around him. Well, to be honest, our midfield's actually a joke when Bentancur comes back. Basuma,
Crazy.
Bentancur, Maddison is a joke of a midfield.
Yeah.
It's so strong.
I can't lie. I'm actually like, I'm imagining in my head, it's actually mental. And I just want to touch on that price fee from Madders. I mean, I've got to say, so far, if you look at transfers over the past two years, let's say, you got Kulusevski, who I don't want to put him in the category, but you've got likes of Bentancur, Romero, Madders. Them three, I I think we've done great business, but that slightly concerns me because if Levy thinks he can only do business, he can only do good business, and only spend 30 mil to get an amazing player, that's not how it works, man. Now, by the way, a side note thing as well, I can't see how Tottenham Hotspur would have survived without Madison. I'm not actually joking.
Oh no,
I
no
I
way. We would
can't
have been all
see it.
over the place.
100%.
Everything runs through him. But what I think is so important is our spine looks so much better as a team. When you look
Yeah,
from bottom to middle, our spine, Vicario's got his critics at the minute. He's taken a lot of flack at the minute, actually. I think it's a bit harsh. He was a bit
yeah,
shaky. I get that. On the ball, he wasn't great, but Brentford have a pretty harsh press. And he sometimes didn't know whether to come or go, but he's so new that I think he will become to an understanding with Romero and Van de Ven of when he needs to come and when he needs to go. But if you
yeah,
look at our spine, Mickey, we'll get on into him later, but Mickey, you are so fine. I love you. Honestly, what a bloke. What a sight. I love him. He's going to be
yeah.
so good in this system. But Mickey Romero, Biss in front of them, who's just unbelievable. Madders.
Unreal.
And then obviously Richie's the bit of the eyesore in that sort of thing. But everyone goes on, he's Brazil's number 9. I do want to see a bit more from Richie. I was a little bit disappointed. I know he works hard and he presses hard, and that's great. But you know, I need a
Yeah,
bit more of a cutting edge, a bit more clinicalness. That it is your chance. This is your big chance. He was asking last year for his chance to be someone at Spurs. You're not going to get a bigger one
yeah.
now. There's a big hole left by Harry up front. Now's your chance to come and seize it. But I'm so much more happy with the spine of this team compared to where it was last season.
I agree with you 100%. I don't say 100%, but it's exactly what you said. I agree. I mean, you look at the likes of the two centre backs, and what I like about it is, and what I want to see this. I don't want to see Vicario shout. I don't want to see Vicario shouting. Obviously, I do, but I want to see Romero. I want to see Romero go on him. I want to see Romero take that vice captain role and pretend he's got a captain. I want him to start shouting. Tell Van de Ven, "Oi, go left, leave this to me," or tell Vicario. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that because of that
Yeah.
header injury. But I can't lie, I couldn't have asked for someone better to score our first goal of the Premier League, which is
Well,
Coutinho
vice
Romero.
captain's a vice captain, wasn't it? And it was almost a signal of a new era. It's a new Tottenham. It's a new
Yeah,
era. And he had to be dragged off the pitch, despite the fact that he had basically a concussion and scored a header
yeah,
off of what was like, I don't even know how hard Maddison hit that
mental.
football, but it was like he hit a rocket into the
It
back of
was
the net. Honestly, that
rapid.
must have absolutely killed him. He had to be dragged off by Ange. I love Romero. I've always loved Romero. He had his
Yeah.
critics last season, but he was defending with Dyer and Davies and making up for their errors as well. So I thought it
And
was a bit
that
harsh.
is mad itself. In itself, defending against Dyer and Davis, and yes, cover up for them is crazy. But then
Mm,
look, I just want to talk. If we're ready to talk a little bit about the Vicario,
mm.
I've- I'm not convinced. I'm really not convinced. Look, I don't have. I can't back up my words right now because it's only based on game week 1.
Yeah.
But from what I can see, I'm not worried about his distribution because I think his distribution's fine. I'm just worried about the basic saves. That's all. Like I'm worried about the headers. I told you privately as well. I'm
Mm.
worried about the headers that he can't really get down to. I mean, he said he's worked on a footwork. I mean, look, obviously it was a Mickey Van de Ven deflection. But
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think of Vicario? What do you think? Because I would have said pay 50 mil for David Villa. I
I
don't care
think
what his
I
money
feel
is.
for him because it now looks so much worse because David Raya has now gone to Arsenal.
Yeah,
And I think people are going to be a bit upset because, and also Brentford. What are you doing? What are you doing? We offered you 30 at the start, and now you're going to take 20. Basically, you're going to take a
Idiots.
loan and then 20 next season for him to go to
Is
Arsenal.
it is it obligated to buy?
I think it's an option.
Oh,
I'm
it's an
not
option.
sure if it's
Okay.
an obligation, but what are you doing? You've absolutely shot yourselves in the foot, just like everyone thought you were going to. You priced yourself out of a move of getting a decent fee for him, and now you're getting the scraps from Arsenal. So obviously, I know Spurs fans aren't going to be happy because David Raya was the one that we all wanted. I think he would have been a perfect fit, like a perfect fit.
Yeah.
And it's really been unfortunate for Vicario. I think he's made some decent saves in the games he's played against, but coming to and off his line is a worry. And obviously we all worry about his parrying a little bit. I think I'm not too confident in the way that he parries some of his shots.
I
But
mentioned that. I mentioned
yeah,
that. I'm just saying.
but I'm not going to go in too hard on him. I still think he's going to be an upgrade on Lloris. Like, it'd be hard
Yeah.
not to.
Yeah.
Despite how much I
It
love
would be
Hugo, it'd
hard.
be hard not to. But I'm just gonna let's just give the guy time. He's 26, but he's not that old for a keeper. It's a new league, a brand new system. You've got to remember, yeah, this guy was playing for a really poor team in Italy. So he's not used to having to be off his line constantly, being in possession of the ball constantly. You got to give him time. If we hound him too quickly and we get on his back too quickly, we're going to ruin this kid. We're going to absolutely ruin him because he needs the backing and he needs confidence right now. I think we're on such a positive wave with the team. I know outside of the club it's not as positive right now in terms of the general surrounding outside
Yeah.
the club with transfers and the board and this whole ticket thing that's going on, which I would like to mention later on, to be honest.
Outrageous.
Um, but it feels like, as far as the actual team's concerned, there's a really positive wave right now, and I just don't want to get on this kid. I think he's taking a lot of slack right now from Spurs fans, and it's very knee jerk. Yeah, there's worries, but teething issues happen. Not everyone's going to be, an Adoji, a Van de Ven, or a MADDER'S that's just ready made to come in and kick on. You know,
Yeah.
um, give him time. Let's just give him time.
That's one of the things that I said from the beginning. I said, look, as much as I'm not convinced of him, I said from the beginning you have to give him time.
Yeah.
Just like I said, you have to give Udogi time, and just like I said, you have to give Mickey Van der Ven time. Now look, I'm just trying to see what we got up next. We've got Van der Ven news. Now, I don't want us to be too positive. I know it's hard, but let's try to be like real. Let's try to be real. Mickey Van der Ven, what a game! I can't even lie. He
Yeah.
was outrageous. I mean,
Serious player.
look, when you say that the two left defenders are new to the team, they're making their debuts. Van der Ven only signed 5 days prior.
3 sessions. He had 3 training
He only had
sessions.
3 sessions. That's mad, and he played like that. I think there's a lot of positives to come for. The negative side, I think, is the aerial duels. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's just in case that ball goes over him. I haven't seen him react, obviously, because there wasn't too much pressure on the defenders against for Brentford, because Ivan Toney wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he will be playing against the likes of even a simple Callum Wilson or Antonio, or them lot, just like basic strong attackers. Even if United had Weghorst, I'm saying them kind of strikers. But what is your thoughts on Van der Ven's debut?
He's such a better fit in the system. Honestly, it's going to be like there's going to be teething issues. I think the key word for this season is patience. I know they've
Yeah,
asked a lot of us, but regards to the team itself, patience with these new
yeah,
boys. But he's such a good fit for the system. His pacing behind is so needed. It's so needed because we're going to face Brentford's go-to was obviously the long ball out wide, and just in behind in general, that long ball over the top. And that's going to happen a lot this year. We knew that coming in. That's not the weakness per se of Postecoglou's system, because he buys fast centre backs for a reason, because he knows that that's what people are going to do against him in that system. So Van der Ven's perfect for that. He's going to be one of the fastest centre backs in the league.
yeah,
But it's so nice to not have to worry that when someone pumps a ball long, that's it, we're done, because he can recover so easily. And he said in conference in his in his press that he's confident when people try and pump the ball long over him. He's not bothered about the physical side.
yeah.
because he's massive. He's 6'4". He's
Imagine having
absolutely
him.
massive at
Imagine having
footy.
him running at you,
Yeah, he's going
trying
to be.
to defend
He's
you.
faster than you. He's bigger than you. He's stronger than you, and he's still a kid. You know, is he going to be a bit clunky sometimes? Because obviously he's a big kid with a big frame and he's still learning about his body. He's only young. He's still learning about how to use his body. So sometimes he's going to look a bit clunky and it's 1-on-1. He's going to look a bit clunky
Yeah,
sometimes, especially against the smaller players turning in and out. He's going to look a bit clunky, but that's okay. Again,
I think it's
not
yeah,
everyone, he's going to have time. He's got plenty of time to learn and grow into his body and develop. But on the ball, impressed. His progressive dribbles,
very much.
especially under pressure, very composed. I thought he was
Yeah,
fantastic on the ball. A lot better than what we had. It takes so much pressure off of the players around him,
yeah.
to have a player that can progress the ball by themselves, that isn't going to give you an underhit pass or isn't going to try and spray one or lose it on the halfway line. I'm so much more comfortable and confident with him. And if I'm more comfortable and confident with him, I guarantee the players around him are.
Look, when you say comfortable, I mean, I obviously knew what a left centre back with a left-footed left centre back means, but I didn't know it's that comfortable with him. I mean, when he gets the ball, you can have someone sprinting and Buemo sprinting. You just pass it nicely. But
He doesn't care.
I like the way now you're going to slightly twist this segment and talk about a player that is also still learning about his body,
Mm.
and a player who I think you can guess who we're about to talk about. Defender. He had a blind of a debut,
Mm-hmm.
and we all knew he was going to have one. And I think it's Destiny Udogie.
We
I
did.
mean, look, wait. First of all, I just want to get this negative bit out. Is the foul on that winger that he put out his hand?
Yeah,
Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Right
yeah.
by the box. I was like, what, man? You just ran into his arm. But out of that, except for that, he was out and unbelievable. What did you make out of his debut against Brentford?
Outstanding, up and down the pitch, both sides of the game, both sides of the ball. He was fantastic. He was energetic. He was powerful. He didn't look like the physicality got to him. Generally, with new players, especially from within Europe, especially the younger ones, they can get bullied a little bit by those experienced veteran players. Buemo's been in
Yeah,
the league a long time now. I know he's a little winger, but he's still quite a big, musty guy. And usually those Premier League vets, they just bully players. But no, him and Mickey Van der Ven, they sort of rose to the challenge of that physical side of the game, and it looks like they did that really well. His pace was so much more useful. We've obviously been used to Davies on that left hand side and Perisic, who their
yeah,
pace is gone. They can't deal with those players 1-on-1, but Udogie's much better in the 1-on-1 on the defensive side. And he played that inverted role really nicely when he needed to. He played the overlapping role really nicely when he needed to. He was progressive. He was looking to get into the box when he could and get those balls into the box. I love him. I think we all saw this come in terms of his attacking output. It was the defensive
yeah.
side we were worried about, and how he would play this left back role, this inverted left back role, because he's usually a wing back, but he's taken it to like a duck to water. Honestly, he's been fantastic. I couldn't be more impressed with him.
I'm putting this out there. He's going to be one of the best left backs this season in the Premier
Yeah,
League.
I love him, and I think Davies is that nice opposite to him as a left
Yeah,
back backup. He'll be safe, solid, defensively sound when we're under the cosh, and you can
yeah.
whack Davies in at left back when we're under it. But Dojis is a
Yeah.
great
No, I like Davis a lot. I really like Davis
as
a
a
lot,
bench
and
player. I do.
yeah. No, like he's a bench player. I think he's a solid bench player. He's
Yeah,
like a Nacho. I've so many times related him to Nacho. I say, Ben Davis is a player who, no matter what, he will give you 100%.
decent squad
No matter
player.
no matter what exactly, he will turn up for you. Obviously, he's not gonna be, the next I don't know, Roberto Carlos or whatever. He's gonna be a solid defender.
Mm.
And look, if we want to talk about Destiny Udogie, I think we got to talk about that left back position. Obviously, you got Perisic and you got Udogie. I want to talk about them too, though. Perisic, is he going to be playing? He's going to be playing what build,
On
isn't
the
he?
wing now. He could
He's
be on the wing now.
he's going to be going up on the wing now. So, are we going to see him start anytime? Is he going to start?
I don't think so. I don't think you can, especially because Son's captain now. You can't drop
Yeah,
Sonny now. I personally, there's been chat about Sonny and striker just amongst the fan base. Don't
yeah,
hate it. I don't hate the idea of Son playing centrally. I think because that winger that role now on the left hand side isn't what it was under Mourinho and Conte, where you're going to invert and you're going to make those diagonal runs. You're staying
Yeah.
wide and you're going 1-on-1. So you need a player that's good in the dribble, that's explosive rather than good over sort of 10, 20, 30 yards. And that's going to be ready to just whip balls into the box or sort of invert. But Sonny's not that guy anymore. Sonny under
Yeah.
Poch was that guy. You know, he used to take players on for fun, but he's not necessarily that guy anymore. He has lost a couple yards of pace. He's still rapid, don't get me wrong, but he's rapid over the long distances now. He's not as rapid as he used to be over that 5-yard
Over a
dash.
short amount of distance. Yeah.
Yeah. His final ball, it leaves a bit to be desired at sometimes. He can overhit it quite a lot because of his technique more than anything else, I think. I just don't think
Yeah.
Sonny has that sort of deft touch, that technical deft touch that Perisic has, where Perisic can sort of float them in when he chooses to, or just pick his player with a really nice, precise cross. Sonny can't really do that. He sort of just hammers his crosses in, and he can put he put a couple in decent positions against Brentford, but it's
Yeah.
not the ones where players like Richie are going to just be able to just tap in or know that they're
That those type of crosses, I think, will most likely come from Madders and from
yeah,
Decky. That's what I think. Now, look, we got a slight comment. Do you think Spurs need a right winger for Kulusevski because if he gets injured?
I
Because I
do.
can't stand Solomon on the right. I can't stand him on the left. Not even on the right. So we need to look. So I'm just not trying to understand. Are you saying you can't stand Solomon on the right and on the left? So look, let's try answer as much as we can. Josh, do we need an extra right winger?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Um,
Poro. What about Poro? He gets a shout or not really?
Everyone's on this shout, and I get it. I do get it because he is rapid and he has a great final ball.
Yeah.
But I think that's a waste in terms of he's not a all-out right winger, and it's like we've invested a lot of money in Porro, and I think
Yeah.
he can play that inverted right back role quite well when we're on the ball. It's off the ball that he really struggles. And he really does need to pick that up sooner rather than later, because otherwise it's going to be a real worry and that we've wasted a lot of money on a player that doesn't fit the system, and then we're stuck with.
Yeah.
But we need a player honestly, like Jeremy Doku, who City are going for, that is just fantastic in their one-on-one dribblings, their progressive dribbles, that are just going to be direct attack players one-on-one, beat their man, and get the balls across the box, or cut back. That's not necessarily Kulu can do that. He can. He's so good at in his dribbling, and he's so good at one-on-one sometimes with his physicality. He's got that weird style of dribbling, hasn't he? Where it's not
Yeah.
quite, it's not necessarily explosive in terms of the way that a Vinny Jr. dribbles or an Mbappe dribbles, but
But it's
they just
not
can't touch
calm.
him. No, they
Yeah.
just can't touch him. He's so strong. But I do want someone that is a bit more. I'm actually not as worried about the right side. I'm actually a bit more worried about the left side for that role, though. In terms of a player that can do that, because Perisic is great one-on-one. He's got the slowest step overs in the world, but every defender falls for them. It's so
Yeah.
fun to watch. Everyone knows what he's going to do, but it works every time.
And now he
And
nutmegged, by the way, that Brentford
yeah. But it's because his
player.
final ball is so good as well. As soon as he gets a yard, he can just put one in, and it's on heads. But I do think we need a winger. I really liked Eze, and I know he could play that sort of 8 role and that wing role, but it looks
Yeah.
like with Elise leaving to Chelsea and the rumours of Decore going to Liverpool, that like we're going to be charged outrageous money for Eze, and I don't think we're going to front it, quite frankly, at this point. And I don't really think that's too high up the list. I don't know if Gift Orban can play on the out wide rather than just centrally as well.
I think if we sign him, he has to play just striker. I'll be completely honest with you.
I
I'm
do agree.
I'm fed up with everyone just saying, "Oh, these players need to be in different roles."
Yeah,
Mate,
no, you buy them for the role they're intended for. Like,
exactly.
I think that's fine. But I do think we need a winger. But is it the priority right now at this very minute?
Yeah.
I think we need another striker. We need another centre back badly. And it looks like Højbjerg did he even make the squad? I know he didn't make the first 11. Obviously,
He made the squad. Yeah, he did.
He did, but it's obviously the first time he's lost out on merit ever, rather than just
Yeah.
injury. So it looks like the writing's on the wall that he's going to leave. So obviously after he leaves, I'd want a more attacking eight to replace Hoiberg rather than
So
another
so,
DM.
so is Eze on your list or?
He's on my list, and I know Spurs have been looking at him. As the Golds reported it that they are really, really interested in Eze, but I think they might just
Yeah.
get priced out this year
Just to
for Eze.
confirm, by the way, Højbjerg was on the bench
Yeah.
against
But
Brentford.
it's the first time I've ever known him to miss out just on merit, though. But
Yeah.
I think it's the right choice. I don't think he fits the system. I've said it from the beginning. I don't see him where he fits in. I don't think he's good enough on the ball to be an 8. And I don't think he's good, like press resistant enough, especially compared to Basuma, to be that 6. I don't see where he fits. I think we can get good money for him. I think it's time for him to move on.
No, I mean, I think it's sad to say it's time for him to move on, but it really is.
Good
I mean,
player, good servant,
a
but it's just not right
good
for us anymore.
servant. I mean, I've never looked at a player that was like, okay, you did well for your time, and then that's it. I've never looked at it. I've always looked at it as, oh, we should have sold him earlier. Let's see. I
Yeah,
never look at never Davinson Sanchez and say, oh wow, your time is like you perfectly timed. When I look
yeah.
at Højbjerg, I'm like, wow, this is a
We always
brilliant.
hold
Like
on
in my
too
opinion,
long, but this is the
I think,
time to get
yeah,
rid.
I think Højbjerg is a fantastic transfer. I mean, we signed him, we played him for 2 years, we move him on, and we get money. I mean, Levy will be proud. I mean, it's Levy
I think
business through
it's a
and
transfer
through.
that makes sense for everyone involved. I don't think he's going to get
Yeah,
the minutes he wants. He doesn't fit the system like we want, but he's still a good player that has good value to a number of teams amongst Europe. So
exactly,
I think
exactly.
it's time for the guys. Hopefully, we can get a good fee for him, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later because obviously we've only got a couple of weeks left of the window now. So I don't want to leave
Yeah,
it
wow.
too late.
It's
But
been
yeah,
going fast this window, I'll tell you that. And look, I'm looking forward to see who we sign next. But Josh, I think we're going to end it here quickly. Before we end it, I think something you did want to talk about
mm,
was the tickets.
yeah.
Bloody hell! I mean, mate. So you're saying you're going to sell our best player? You're going to do a whole new era about Tottenham Hotspur and forget to tell us that you're going to upgrade now the tickets, man. Come
Yeah.
on, Josh. What do you think about this? That's atrocious.
It's it's actually disgusting.
Yeah.
It's really disgusting from Tottenham to do this at a time where there's a cost of living crisis amongst the nation. We're already the highest paying fan base in terms of our ticket prices anyway. We're not even in Europe anymore. We've got a 6 million, I think it is, net profit spend or over this window now. So you've not even spent the money that we've invested into your club already. There's
Yeah.
season ticket holders that can't afford to go anymore. Regular Spurs fans can't afford to go anymore because you'd rather give the tickets away to sort of these holiday sort of funds where people come in from abroad in package holiday deals to come and watch a game. You don't care about all it says to me as a fan base is you don't care. You hired this fan advisory board to advise you on matters and have a voice for the fans who unanimously told you do not raise these ticket prices, do not raise the season ticket prices because people are pissed and people aren't going to be happy. What did they do? Completely ignored them. It was a unanimous vote from the fan advisory board, which you appointed. We didn't ask for them.
Yeah.
You appointed them and you made this whole big deal about appointing them to us. And you've just ignored them at the first thing you've asked them about.
Hmm.
It's ridiculous and it's embarrassing. And I think there's the protest about it to stop exploiting loyalty. It's either
Just before the United game.
yeah. I'm obviously, unfortunately, I'm going to be in Newcastle. I know. So for those that don't know, so Josh and Matt are not primarily based in the UK,
Yeah.
but as someone that I am primarily based in the UK, and I attend matches as frequently as I can, but I'm also someone that's just come out of university. I've got other commitments, car, like everyone else, rent, car payments, just starting up a new job in a new career as a recent graduate. I'm being priced out of a club that I've supported for
Since day
22
one.
years of my life. I've been going
Mental.
to Spurs since I was a little kid. I just took the other week my cousin who's 6 years old to his first ever game, but now I can't afford to take him to see a United because the tickets are 60 to 80 pounds a person now, and that's without travel and that's without food or a drink in the
Mad.
stadium as it is. We're all the regular fans and the die-hard fans of this club are being priced out, and you don't care. The board that you don't care. You clearly haven't thought about us. You never have, and we've been loyal and we've been patient and we've put up with your crap for decades now. Nothing's changed except the prices, which have changed for the worse. It's disgusting.
Exactly.
And all they've done, like the hashtag says, is exploit our loyalty. And I think everyone's sick of it now. I'm sick of it. I'm sure you guys are all sick of it. And it is time for something to happen.
The worst thing about all of this is that it's just a bad timing. It's like, okay, we would understand if you do this when we were in the Champions League, final. We would understand this. I mean, just about. But you do realize, again, I'm going to say this again, you've sold our best player. I've gotten money for him. You've gotten 120 mil for him. Oh no, sorry, that's not enough for you. You need to sell. You need our money as well. You haven't spent in the transfer window. Just so I'm confirmed, you haven't spent in the transfer window. And Daniel Levy is in America, just so you know, is in America, just having a holiday, using all the money we spent. So it's absolutely atrocious. And the worst thing, like Josh said, is you've got fans such as Josh himself, who's 22 years in the making of Tottenham. I mean, you've got fans out there like my granddad. I mean, he's been a fan for over 70 years of this club. Over 70 years of this club.
Yeah.
And I mean, different people, because of the amount of money these tickets are, they cannot afford to go to these games. And
And there's
like
no
Josh said,
concession tickets anymore, by the way. They've not allowed us older season ticket holders
man,
like your granddad to have concession tickets because they've run out. It's outrageous.
that's crazy. Daniel Levy, the board, you have to do something about this. And this is going to be going on all social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Let's get the awareness up. But Josh, I think we need to end on a positive note, because I
Yeah.
think we've got a exciting year ahead of ourselves for the Premier League. By the way, guys, we are going to be obviously updating you with everything regarding Tottenham Hotspur. Let's talk one thing positive. Give me something positive, that's happened with regarding Tottenham Hotspur this week that you're excited about.
Just Ange. Every
Yeah.
time that man speaks in a press conference, I just love him more. I absolutely adore that bloke.
Every time he writes on the group, I'm like, I know he's talking about Ange. He's
Yeah, I
talking
just
about
love
Ange.
him. He's so positive about the squad, and he speaks so well, and he always uses the term us. Like, he wants to be here. It's so obvious he wants to be here. He's so honest with everyone. He doesn't speak in riddles like Conte. He doesn't sort of hold us to ransom like Conte and Mourinho did. He doesn't think he's better than us. He
Yeah.
just wants the best for us. And that's so evident. We're an underdog club. We always have been. And he's an underdog manager. And it just feels like we found our guy. And for the first time this week, I felt like a Tottenham Hotspur fan again, like a real Tottenham Hotspur fan. I wasn't sat there moping after a 3-2 comeback where we were horrific the first half and we just
Yeah.
relied on Kane to bail us out in the break. Harry Kane left. We're all gutted. But it's a new era.
We were all nervous as well. We were all
Yeah.
nervous about that.
We were, but a new era began, and it felt like a massive weight had been lifted off my shoulders as a Spurs fan. There wasn't this expectation of, the Harry Kane team, you're holding him back. Oh, when are you going to let it get him a trophy? There was none of that. It was just, let's play some good football. Let's entertain the fans. Let's give them the product that they pay for at a premium and that they deserve. And that's what we got. For the first time in 2 years, I finished watching a game of Tottenham and I didn't care about the result. I just cared that I had watched a great game of football and we were a dominant side again. It felt like Tottenham again. It felt like the Tottenham I grew up watching.
Perfect. No, like I agree with you. I mean, when I was watching the game, obviously I was with my father drinking some German beer. You know what I'm saying? Like proper German beer. And
Don't fund them. Don't fund them.
no, sorry, lad.
I hope you're with
I've
Leipzig
got the bit.
fans.
Nah, screw Leipzig. Screw Leipzig. But anyway, now I was just chilling there, drinking beer with my dad, and we were looking at this, and we looked at each other in a moment. I think it was around just before half time, around the 35th minute, something like that, half an hour into the game. We looked at each other and like, wow, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, like we were relaxed. Like the last time I was relaxed on a game that I think we were losing was like
Mm.
was that never happened. I think we got into half time 2-1 down,
Yeah.
and no, sorry, we went into half time 2-2, but it was the 45th minute that we scored the equalizer. But it was
Yeah.
2-1. I remember I was looking at that, I was like, wow, like this is amazing. Look at this Tottenham team. I mean, we didn't care about the score. We just looked at each other and we're like, amazing. And he was saying to me, like, back when he was watching, when he was a little kid, I mean, he used to love Tottenham. And, you know, we for the past 4 years, 3 years, we haven't enjoyed watching Tottenham. Let's be honest, we
Yeah.
haven't. I mean, obviously you got the odd game here that we did, but in general we didn't. And now
Yeah.
we're getting to a new era that my Australian friends have been going on about me, saying Andrew's going to do a phenomenal job. I was like, man, shut up, come on, he's just an Aussie. What are you on about? But I got to say, Ange Fossokolagu, welcome to Tottenham, and we are absolutely gassed to have you on this team, gassed to have you at the Tottenham Hotspur. And Josh, look, I think this is a brilliant way to end the live stream.
Yeah.
Lads, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to turn on the notification bell, because you will be getting a lot of transfer updates in the next couple of weeks from us. Obviously, as long as the transfer window continues, and also match preview, match reaction. United game is coming on Saturday. We will
Mm.
provide you with a match preview, match reaction. And yeah, so Josh, any last words?
Well, we'll tell them where we can find them. Hopefully, with the schedule that we've got, we're hoping to get you your match previews every Thursday. So make sure you're checking up on the channel on a Thursday for your match previews. And then where we can, it'll be either the Saturday or the Sunday. I think at the moment it's the Sunday for your match reactions. So every Thursday and Sunday, make sure to be checking out for the Spurs Live channel. We're going to be here for you guys every week, and we're going to try and be as consistent as we can be for you guys this season. Because we're all excited and we want to be doing this for you guys.
And guys, it doesn't cost a single penny. But lads, make sure you subscribe. Yeah, just subscribe. Follow all socials. Obviously you got I'm just gonna put up Josh's socials down there. Everyone just subscribe. Drop a like on a video, and yeah, sorry. Yeah, and also, but oh yeah, that's video. I just thought I saw a tweet and I was like, oh, do I say this? But nah, it was nothing important. All right, lads, have a good one. Come on, you Spurs, and great to have you all on the stream.